9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff. Godspeed, Endeavour and Crew 2.
Copy, 1 Alpha.
Endeavour launches once again. 4 astronauts from 3 countries on Crew 2, now making their way to the one and only International Space Station. The vehicle is pitching downrange. 9 Merlin engines on the first stage providing 1.7 million pounds of thrust. Hearing good calls on first stage performance so far.
We are T plus 30 seconds into the second rotational crew mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9. Falcon 9 will be throttling down the 9 Merlin engines shortly here in preparation for maximum dynamic pressure. And there's that call out for the throttle down. Maximum dynamic pressure, max Q, is the largest structural load that the vehicle sees throughout ascent, so throttling down does help us pass. Throttling down helps us pass through this period, which should be coming here shortly.
Max Q.
There's that call out that we have just passed through max Q.
Stage 1, throttle up.
And
One
we can
Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
All right, 1 Bravo is the second abort mode on the first stage. The first stage continues to fire for 2 minutes, 35 seconds. 1.5 minutes into today's flight. Falcon 9 now traveling at more than 1,500 miles an hour.
MVAC engine chill started.
All right, the engine chill for the second stage single Merlin engine has started. About 30 more seconds of the first stage firing to bring our 4 astronauts into orbit.
Now from here coming up in about 20-some seconds, we're going to have 3 major milestones. We'll have shutdown of the 9 Merlin engines. We're beginning to throttle them down. We will then get stage separation.
1, throttle down.
And then we will get ignition of the second stage engine to propel Dragon and the Falcon 9 second stage into orbit.
Two
Nico.
Alpha.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
Confirmed.
Acquisition signal, yes.
MVAC ignition.
And we have ignition of the second stage. You see the green flash of that T-TEB fluid. The expansion nozzle on the second stage Merlin vacuum glowing that bright red that we like to see. Good performance on the second stage so far.
And on the left side of your screen, we saw the exhaust of the second stage engine streaming past the first stage as the grid fins are coming out. We also briefly had a view of the lights of Central Florida in the background. Currently, the first stage is continuing to coast up to apogee. It's unpowered. It'll reach a peak height and then begin to descend back down toward the Earth's atmosphere, where it will light 3 engines to slow down in preparation for what will be a landing burn on the drone ship in the Atlantic Ocean. You can see the grid fins are deployed right now. The first stage
Dragon,
pulsing.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
We're pulsing the thrusters.
Signal, Bermuda.
Copy, nominal trajectory.
And we hear a call out from the crew, nominal trajectory. So we're beginning to move the first stage into position so it can do the entry burn.
Four minutes, 15 seconds into today's flight. Second stage propelling our 4 astronauts up the eastern seaboard. We'll continue to fire. It's a 6-minute burn to deliver the astronauts into orbit. We'll wait for a cue for good orbital insertion after that. Meanwhile, we'll be hearing check-ins on the vehicle's trajectory and performance, as well as check-ins with some of the ground stations as it passes over throughout the 6 minutes of the second stage firing.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy. Nominal trajectory.
Getting good views of both the first and second stage from the onboard cameras.
Acquisition of signal, boss.
The New Hampshire tracking station has acquired the second stage telemetry signal. Meanwhile, the first stage has reached apogee and it's now beginning to descend from a height. It's currently about 167 kilometers up. And in a few minutes, we will get the entry burn of the second stage, of the first stage.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy. Nominal trajectory.
Right on cue, those check-ins on the second stage performance. Once a minute, everything's looking good on that
Stage
second
2
stage.
propulsion is nominal.
Stage 2 continues to climb. The vehicle now exceeding 8,000 miles an hour at an altitude of about 124 miles.
And just about 1 minute from now, we will begin the entry burn of the first stage. That'll consist of lighting the center engine, and then shortly afterwards, 2 more engines for a 3-engine burn to slow down the first stage in preparation for entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
Copy. Nominal trajectory.
Another check-in and the crew confirming they're hearing the same thing. The vehicle exceeding, or about to exceed, about 10,000 miles per hour.
Meanwhile, first stage down at 90 kilometers, getting ready to relight 3 engines for the entry burn.
Stage 2 FTS has safed.
We've got the center engine ignition, and there come the 2 side engines. Now this entry burn will last about 29 seconds. It's going to significantly slow down the vehicle in preparation for hitting the denser part of the Earth's atmosphere. Entry burn complete. We're down below 35 kilometers, continuing to look good on the first stage, heading to the Atlantic Ocean for a landing on the drone ship.
While second stage is less than a minute away from cutoff.
Stage 2 in terminal guidance.
Shannon.
Copy. Shannon.
Shannon called out at the back end of the stage 2, a few seconds until cutoff. Dragon's service section Dracos to align and converge with Waypoint 1. Waypoint 1 being directly in front of the International Space Station from this view. It's at the top of your view. That's where the International Docking Adapter is. You can sort of make it out now that the sun is illuminating the station itself. So that approach maneuver was successful, and Dragon itself converged onto Waypoint 1. We did get a word from the ground teams here that the intent is to proceed past Waypoint 1, so once it's directly 220 meters in front of the International Space Station, it will not pause. It will continue to move in. Inside the Keep Out Sphere, which is about 180 meters away from the station, and it will continue on to Waypoint 2 at 20 meters. At 20 meters, it will pause and conduct a go-no-go poll to proceed past the Waypoint 2 and in for a soft capture. Soft capture estimated less than 50 minutes from now at 2:10 a.m. Pacific time.
We have the sun shining very bright on the International Space Station right there. As we are entering sunrise, as Gary mentioned. Again, this is a view from Crew Dragon as it's approaching the International Space Station. And it is moving from below the station or between Earth and the station towards being adjacent or in front of the station.
So hopefully continue to get these views for as long as possible. They are absolutely incredible. And then, of course, we have cameras on the International Space Station itself that'll be able to look at Dragon as it approaches the docking axis a little closer. Actually, yeah, we're getting some views even now as the Dragon's underneath and in front of the station. So we're expecting to converge on waypoint 1. Dragon, you're seeing from this view here, will make its way into the docking axis directly in front of the International Space Station. That whole maneuver expected to take about 21 minutes from now. And again, the plan will be to, as of now, will be to proceed past waypoint 1 and pause at waypoint 2 about 20 meters. So as Dragon makes this maneuver, you were seeing mostly the nadir side, or the side of the International Space Station that faces the Earth. Now, as we swing up in front of the station, you're starting to see more features, including some of the solar arrays. Each of those arrays about the size of a basketball court. Those arrays will provide enough power for all of the equipment on board the International Space Station, including communications and navigation and environmental control and life support equipment, as well as hundreds of experiments throughout the orbiting laboratory. Once Dragon docks to the International Space Station, an umbilical will be provided by the space station to provide power from those solar arrays to Dragon throughout its 6-month stay aboard.
Gary, you're mentioning the size of some of the components on the space station, but the space station altogether, what we're looking at here is approximately the size of a football field, right?
That's right. Oh, fantastic views from the International Space Station. You can see very clearly the Terminator line. So that's the line between light and dark now. That's over the North Atlantic Ocean. The International Space Station on a northeasterly course. It will cross over Great Britain when it gets over the Atlantic Ocean, over the pond to Europe. It will first cross over Great Britain.
Again, more awesome views from the International Space Station, looking at Dragon with Earth in the background there. And Dragon is currently swinging up to become adjacent to the space station, and it will be moving to be right in front of the docking port.
Right, I just passed the marker waypoint 0 that waypoint being directly below the International Space Station, where it executed an approach burn using the service section Dracos. That helped it to converge with that next waypoint right in front of the station. So now we're at a little more than 310 meters away from the station. As it makes its way up front, it will continue to get slightly closer. Waypoint 1 directly in front of the station is about 220 meters, so it'll get incrementally closer as it makes its way in front of the station.
And these views from the space station look incredible. I can only imagine what the astronauts on board the station get to see with their own eyes. That looks amazing.
They had a lot of time in orbit. Of course, after an orbital insertion, about 9 minutes into the flight, and then spacecraft separation from the Falcon 9 that delivered Dragon into orbit 12 minutes into the flight. For the most part, up until this point, they've been flying around the Earth. Had a couple of laps, couple of sunrises, and have been able to enjoy these views. Of course, there's a sleep period as well.
And now you can kind of see how Dragon is swinging up to be in front of the station, because now you can see a portion of the space station in the view.
That's right, these cameras on the truss segment of the International Space Station, so these cameras likely on the nadir side of the truss segment. As station makes its way up, as Dragon makes its way up to align with the docking axis, we may lose some of the views here, but there are cameras on the forward end of the International Space Station. They'll be able to pick up Dragon as it makes its way to align with the docking axis. Those cameras pointed straight ahead to monitor the operations just like this for the approach and docking of visiting vehicles. Teams will continue to evaluate the progress of Dragon's.
And there, the Corps just reiterated that they will be checking to make sure that the sunlight is not in the way of the visual systems between Dragon and the space station. If that does happen, Dragon will autonomously retract and wait until we do get some good visual views for these systems to dock with each other. So
that's right, Crew Dragon. Some of the features there, you can see a lot of the visiting vehicles on board station. At the bottom is a Russian Soyuz vehicle that delivered crew to the International Space Station. Just in front of that, or actually above that, is the Crew Dragon Resilience docked to the Zenith port. Once Crew Dragon Endeavour arrives, there will be 2 Crew Dragons attached to the space station.
in this view from Crew Dragon looking at the International Space Station, it looks like it's this very slow and steady movement, but in reality, they're moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
The rendezvous operations are absolutely incredible. You can sort of see the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft as well, some of the Ultraflex solar arrays coming into view a little bit clearly.
And you can see that Crew 1 Dragon vehicle on the top of your screen. Once Crew 2 docks to the International Space Station, we will have 2 Crew Dragons docked at the same time for the first time.
That view right there was truly a representation truly of an international cooperation there. The U.S.-built Node 2 is where the Dragon will be docking today. It was flanked by the European Columbus module and the Japanese
SpaceX
GEM.
Endeavour on the big loop, visors down.
SpaceX copies. Visors are down. We may enter into a hold at waypoint 2. We are still awaiting ground go for final approach.
Endeavour copies.
The detail of this camera view is pretty incredible here from the International Space Station.
Endeavour, welcome aboard.
Welcome
You are
aboard.
go to
You
Ingress.
are go to Ingress.
Endeavour arriving.
Got some confirmation that the crew is go for ingress, and you can see Aki is the first to ingress onto the International Space Station.
And Gwyn Gwyn.
And Gwyn Gwyn.
Followed by Thomas Pesquet from the European Space Agency.
Lots of hugs and smiles right now.
Pilot Megan MacArthur of Crew 2 is next, being welcomed by the Expedition 65 crew members, and Shane Kimbrough bringing up the rear. The 11-person crew of Expedition 65 now together inside Node 2 of the International Space Station.
Though we can't even hear audio in there, you could really feel the excitement just by the looks on their faces, the hugs that they're giving. Now they're getting ready for this official welcome ceremony. You can see them getting into position. With
let the Tetris game of fitting 11 crew members into a single frame begin.
Right. 12. Gwyn Gwyn.
Oh, that's right.